We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. It's education and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. It's May the 26th, 2021 and we are live here at paceradio.net and as well as at paceradioshow.com. I'm Al Graham and tonight I'm joined by my joint host Julie Chiariello, whose special guest is involved in cannabis tourism and we all love to travel, so let's check out what's going on. But first, as usual, a short gab with Julie before she brings in our guest. Well, Julie, how are things in California today?
Hello. Well, we just finished wrapping the summer issue.
Oh, yes.
Just got in this week.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about the cover. It's a special cover. It's Supernova Women, Women of Color in Cannabis. And it's featuring 7 women on the cover, and which we've never done before. And it's very exciting. And the feature inside is talking about the incredible work that these women are doing all across the nation, and also affecting the voice and the narrative in the global cannabis community. And we talk a lot, you know, in the feature and then also in my editor's letter. And there's many different articles from Black educators, Native educators, Latino educators in the current summer issue, just talking about just talking about all sorts of things. I mean, from education to successful endeavors. It's not just about the struggle, even though that is in there. It's about really, representation and this idea that, we need consistent representation in the industry of all people
That's right.
in the global movement. And for so long, we've seen just really predominantly white males being represented and celebrated in the cannabis industry. And, God bless them. But, that time is kind of over. We want more of a balance. And, right now, as it stands, we've got 81% of CEOs and owners in the cannabis industry are white male. And so, we want to see a change. And, I myself am a part of that change as now co-owner and essentially CEO at Skunk and running the day-to-day. And as being a Latina, I'm in a minority of 3% or less.
Nice.
And so, that was the
You and I were recently on a panel for People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada, and there was a representative on there from an owner of a company, Harvest, I believe is what the name was, and he was the only person of color in ownership of a microbrewery in Canada.
Yeah, in the entire country. There's one black dispensary owner the entire country of Canada. I mean, I was blown away. So the whole issue is pretty fiery. My editor's letter is pretty fiery because I'm just like, it's time for it to change. And a lot of lip service is paid to this. There's a lot of tokenism that goes on. And we just got to stop all that. We just need consistent, representation, and it's going to have to happen over the next couple decades. And we need equity. We need help people get into positions of ownership and leadership, which means that we need programs that assist, because there is a deficit for, Black and brown people. They're shut out. Not only are they not invited in, they're shut out. for them to get a leg up is infinitely more difficult than even their white counterparts. That it's difficult anyways. It's difficult for all of us to navigate the legal system. But then, if you're Black, if you're Native, if you're Latino, if you're Asian, then chances are you're not going to get, as many open doors, as many. I mean, I found it myself, just getting funding for Skunk. It's difficult compared to what I see, my male counterparts have.
Yeah, I was going to say, and to add to that, you're female, and that sometimes, as we see in wages and stuff like that, it's a barrier as well.
Yeah, so we got a lot of work to do. So that's the devotion of the summer issue. So, and that's going to be coming out by the end of June. Good. And then I did get some really cool news as well for the fall issue, which I'll drop, which is that Santana and Cheech Marin, we're going to be sharing an interview of Cheech interviewing Santana for the fall issue. And that's going to be a cover story. So we're going to have a really fun cover with Santana. And, so that's something that people can look forward to.
Yeah, because Tommy loves the guitar, right? And we know Santana does. And we know Santana does, that's for sure. All right, well, why don't you introduce our guest?
I would love to. Our guest is very special tonight, and it definitely ties in with, some of the different projects that Skunk itself is going to be working on in the year ahead in terms of cannabis and travel. So, my guest tonight is April Black. April Black is the founder of Highway Travel, which is a full-service travel agency that's based out of Paso Robles. And it books 420-friendly vacation packages and hosts custom-curated cannabis experiences, both here in the U.S. and internationally. And April originally is hailing from Arizona. I'm excited to talk with her more. She's a yogini. She has been in hospitality and tourism. She has, participated in many OG events with High Times. There's so many stories that I know that she can share with us tonight. So I'm very honored to have April Black on with us tonight. Welcome, April, and I'm excited, too, because she has an incredible event coming up soon. So we're going to dig in with April Black. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. You are such an inspiring woman, and I'm very, very thankful to have you on. Welcome.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show today. It is quite the honor.
Thank you very much. We appreciate
quite the honor,
coming.
and I just... I'm sorry about that, for cutting you off.
Oh, not a problem. We appreciate you coming on and talking to our listeners. And, I'm interested in hearing all about what you guys are about. And, cannabis tourism and travel is important. So.
Yeah, cannabis tourism is growing by leaps and bounds. But before we jump into all that cannabis tourism stuff, I just wanted to talk upon Santana. That's going to be awesome with the Cheech interviewing Carlos Santana. And a few years ago, that's so dope. A few years ago, I saw this really awesome something on PBS, something about good humanitarians and people who, work for causes and stuff. And it was Santana and Harry Belafonte, and they were talking about human rights issues and things like that. So if any of your listeners want to kind of find that interview, I'm sure if you could YouTube Santana and Harry Belafonte PBS, I'm sure you guys can find that interview. It's really, really good.
All right.
Yeah, he's such an amazing fellow. I just remember being, like 17, 18 years old and seeing Woodstock for the first time. And I was such a hippie and counterculture rebel from the start, and I know you are too, April.
Me too. Yeah, that's one of the best concerts ever.
Sisters.
Oh yeah,
we're kindred. We're kindred spirits. So, and I think that we have some kindred spirits probably listening in tonight. But For sure. I mean, Santana, when he came on to the Woodstock stage, I was blown away. Like, that was the birth of Latin rock. And being a Latina, being Cuban, it just spoke to my heart. And the congas and the guitar and everything, the way that it all unfolded. And then, you know, the fact that he speaks about consciousness, the fact that he speaks about, you know, humanity in a way that is so beautiful. And I know we're going to get into themes like that tonight, April, because you also, you know, do incredible work in this regard of bringing these different ideas together, you know, of consciousness and counterculture and these things. So I'm really, really excited that we're going to do that. So thanks for giving your good energy to that. And it actually is a good kind of intro to where I want to begin with you. And just, you know, when did cannabis first enter your life? And, you know, take us back to when you first encountered it and then what that was like and what you were up to.
Well, I first encountered cannabis. My parents smoke, and they weren't the type of parents that, you know, snuck off in the garage or into the bathroom and hid it from us kids, because they thought if they hid their smoking from us, then they would teach us how to be sneaky. So they just smoked openly in front of us. I remember their friends coming over, and they had this like sheep's horn kind of pipe called the horn. And their friends, anytime their friends would hit it, they would like cough their faces off, you know. And I would say, "Oh, you're going to cough." And these friends of my parents would say, "Who is this little kid? Look at what does she know?" You know, just from being around it. But I didn't really smoke until the summer after 8th grade, before my freshman year of high school. That's when I first started smoking, when my friends did.
Yeah, that was me too. I was 16 and I was a ballerina, and I got high for the first time, and it was wonderful. But it had been around me as well. I had uncles, you know, and so that's cool though. No wonder you're so freaking cool, because that's how I've raised my son, age appropriate, of course, but you know, being really upfront and open and honest and speaking about things plainly. So that's pretty cool that was your original thing. And when you first used it, you know, what did you feel were the effects, and when did it start to kind of change into something? I know for me personally, cannabis, it kind of opened up the doorways of perception, as Huxley talks about, and kind of showed me lots of different things. And I ended up studying herbology. It kind of led me that way and towards healing.
Totally.
Where did it take you? And like, what did it do for you?
Very similar. Yeah, it took me on a similar path. So the first time I smoked, it was just a silly, funny story. So my friends, they had weed. I had the weed because I took it from my parents. My friend had the pipe, but he got grounded and he couldn't do it. So it was me and these two dudes, Mark Torgerson and this other guy named, I don't know, Corey or something. Anyway, we needed a place to smoke, and we needed something to smoke out of. So we had gotten like a little bag of those mini Reese's peanut butter cups, and we freaking smoked a joint out of fucking real paper, out of the brown peanut butter cup wrapper. So gross. So gross. We went into our friends. Yeah, my friend recently just moved out of this house in the neighborhood, but I knew how to get in. And so we went into this empty house and totally smoked in that house. And those two guys got so stupid high, their eyes got so red, and I didn't really get much of an effect. But then later on that same month, I smoked out of my parents' bong when they weren't home, and I had friends over. And I went and I laid on my waterbed. And I laid on my waterbed.
God,
I felt,
it's so cliche, and I love it.
And I just felt like I was on some wheel that those swords, I felt like I was a woman on a wheel that sword throwers throw at the wheel. That's what I felt like the very first time I was high.
You were floating on the waterbed.
Yeah, just floating on my
That's
twin-size
awesome.
waterbed.
Oh my God. That's so freaking awesome. I know. I remember listening to Pink Floyd and smoking out of my bong, and we had a waterbed. What is that? That's so hilarious. Waterbeds have kind of passed out of fashion now.
Yeah. It was a cool concept, the waterbed, but it's definitely not really that good, especially if you like tried to put it up on a second floor or a second floor apartment. It wasn't really very good.
Oh,
No.
They can be dangerous up there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The neighbors above you can just hear you sloshing around. So I learned later on, because I still had that waterbed when I moved out, and then I don't know what happened to it. I don't know what. I probably sold it for $20 or something. But
and
it
that's
took me the same
interesting
kind
that
of
you
road.
had a floating kind of experience. I also felt like I was floating. My head felt like a balloon. If I remember back to what it was like for that first true experience of being stoned.
But I loved it right away. I was like, oh, I like this. Is it. I get it. These are my people. I'm into this. And I was all in. And me and cannabis have been best friends ever since.
Yep. Me too. So, so where did it lead you from there? Because I know for me, I went off to travel, and I think that you have the same thing. I think we have some parallels here.
Well,
so,
I worked
at
a head
take
shop.
you?
Yeah. It took me to school. It took me down the road of talking about cannabis legalization for my reports, and hemp for my reports in school, right? Because we all wrote about that stuff because that was the big thing. For me anyway. Yeah. And then it took me to, I was, going to school, working at a head shop, and just meeting. I worked at a really cool head shop. It was called Trails in Phoenix, and they were like a chain store. And they were one of the only head shops like in the country where you can say bong, and people could say, hey, I want to buy a bong. I want a bong, bong, bong. And that's because the owner, Art Krublik, went to the Arizona Supreme Court and fought and won freedom of speech. And they even had like neon signs, bongs, like right where the bongs were. And that was a very cool head shop, because every quarter they would have these meetings where we would all go before the stores opened and go to the big corporate office, which was like a warehouse, and we would meet people who were in the industry that wanted to give us some product knowledge. So that's how I met Jason Harris from Jerome Baker back in the day, when like color changing bongs and everything, and Jerome Baker and like Trails was like the biggest account. That's how I met Tommy Chong, when Tommy Chong was having his Chong glass, like back in the day. Met the dudes from the detox companies, met people from the glass companies and stuff, and then I started going to Champs. So then I was like, oh, I got another level of my pyramid here in my puzzle, knowing that I am definitely on the right path with the stuff I love, which led me to meeting folks at High Times through Champs. Then I ended up going to Amsterdam to the Cannabis Cup, which led me to meeting Bobby, which led me to dating long distance for a year and a half between Arizona and New York City, and then finally moving to New York City and then getting a job with CS Travel and booking all those trips for the Cannabis Cup for all those years.
That's crazy. What years were those back when you first, when you got that connection and you started?
It's like 20 years ago, man. This is like when I was 21 and 22.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And Trails is dope because they would have contests. Like Jerome Baker said, all right, Jason said, I'm going to have a whole like contest with your stores, and whoever sells the most bongs going to win some shit, right? So and you're going to have like first, second, and third. And so there was like 2 fatty bubblers for third and second, and then a bong. And I got like second place. I got that fatty bubbler. I still have it.
Well, that's the cool thing. I mean, I think about back towards that time and how it was really like, a golden age with 215 still intact, and just a different energy. I remember going to Champs a long time ago, like 15 years ago. And the energy. And can you talk a little bit about that and what it was like and some of the things that you remember compared to how things are now?
Well, what was really cool, it was cool because, like, you really had to be either a buyer or a seller to go there. Like, not too many people just were like, I'm going to go to Champs for the weekend. And I would work at my friend Jack's booth, my friend Jack, who owns Dope Ass Glass. He's been selling glass forever and ever and ever. And everyone who, like, is in the glass scene definitely knows Fat Jack. So, so I would work at his booth, and then High Times would have, like, these, like, Las Vegas Cannabis Cups. This was before I knew Bobby. I just knew, like, this guy Mike and this guy Dan Sky. And so I would help participate with that, you know, and judge that and smoke all that weed, which kind of was, like, super cool to me because I was all young and like, wow, look at all this weed.
What was the weed like back then that you were smoking? Can you go nostalgia with us? It was good herb. Yeah, it was good herb. It was good herb. You know, it was like a lot of just like Kushes and all the good stuff from like 2000 and whatever, 2004. Like when weed tasted like weed. But Champs was funny because I was back in the MySpace days, so I posted some pictures on MySpace, and David from Champs said, hey, man, you got to take those down. You're not allowed to post any of that stuff. So I had to like remove all my pictures from MySpace of Champs. Yeah, it was just, that's how it was, you know? That's so funny. Crazy. That's unusual.
And,
I would never fly now.
They'd have these high roller balls, like all the time. Not all the time, but every time with Champs, they would have like a high roller ball. And they would either rent out like a suite in at the Palms, you know, and they would have just like a big weed pop party. Or they would like rent out a mansion. And one year they rented out a mansion, and like they had hula dancers and they had a luau going on, and they just kind of went like balls to the wall with this thing. And the cops came and everybody had to leave, and I was helping shuttle people back to the strip. But then like a good handful of us went back to the house and just like enjoyed hanging out in this mansion. And it was like a castle mansion too, with like a whole night situation and just weird like castle-y furniture and dining table that was very royal. It was weird and cool.
Well, tell us then. I know. I mean, it just sounds like a whole nother world, and we're never going to be at that time again. So I think, you know, we'll come into another golden period once we move through some of the difficulties of legalization. I think we'll come into another golden period. I mean, we've been around a long time, so we've seen the ebb and flow of how this kind of how evolution rolls out. But speaking of evolution, you know, what was it like to go from AZ to New York and then to get that connection with High Times and start, you know, bringing people to Amsterdam? And what were you thinking, you know, yourself as an adventurer, as a traveler? Like, what was happening for you?
Well, I was like kind of like freaked out about moving out there because it was 2008 and the whole economic thing, like, you know, took a major dive here in the States, and I couldn't get a job in fitness. And that's what I had been doing, like working at resorts as a yoga teacher and a fitness director. So I was trying to get into some corporate fitness gigs, and nobody was hiring because nobody was going to use the corporate gyms and the corporate big offices in the city. They were too scared to leave their desks. So that's how I got the job with CS Travel. And it was awesome because they really needed someone who like could relate to the people who were answering the ad. Hey, I'd like to go to see your ad. You know, stoners, just our people. And it was awesome because I never really thought I'd be going to Amsterdam. I remember talking to my friend, Ben, like when we were 21, and he had been to Amsterdam and stuff. And I was like, wow, that sounds so cool. I hope I get to go there someday. And then fast forward, here I am planning trips for Amsterdam. So that was pretty awesome just to know that I was, you know, facilitating some people's first experience ever, like going out of the country.
I fell hard for Amsterdam. I went in 1998, and I was just blown away, you know, and there was all the old school, like Northern Lights and Purple Haze and all of these, you know, really yummy things. And I was going to Barney's, you know, every morning and having yogurt and fruit and rolling up my hash joints. So, I mean, I feel hard.
So
cool. That's just, right? And to you know, take people on that experience and watch them light up for the different quality that the Dutch people have, right? And aesthetic beauty, and not just the stoner fantastical things, but just for people to be knocked out by the beauty. Yeah.
Window displays, just a regular window display you're walking by for a toy store. Holy shit, it's next level. Or the displays are just weird, like, wow, that's creative and artistic and a little weird, but I like it.
Right. Tell us more about that, like just what it was like for you and what do you remember? Because I know, you know, people long for that. They still long for that, especially like now we're coming out of the pandemic, you know?
Well, it's a great city to get lost in. Everything looks cool. You could smoke, you can eat wherever you want there. And, you know, I don't know if you can't get in there right now because of COVID, but you can go. Try to get to Amsterdam when you can, because they have this mayor that's trying to, like, close the coffee shops to tourists.
Yes.
And that really stinks, because it's really cool being able to go into a coffee shop, look at their menu, smell the weed. It's a lot different than a dispensary experience. Plus, you get to roll up there, order some coffee. Yeah. You know, make sure you order the coffee there. Don't just, like, buy your weed and leave.
It was like
hang out.
Like our former vapor lounges we used to have here in Ontario, where you could go into the lounge and you used to be able to roll a joint, you could order a coffee and all that. But when legalization came, they left. They had to go.
That's such a bummer, you know.
It is.
Like ripping the heart out.
Cultural. Yeah, it was a cultural genocide in Canada. They put a death grip, and they succeeded. You know, California, we've seen some of this, but in Canada, it was worse. You know, they really went after full closure of dispensaries and vapor lounges under the so-called legalization. It's just been depressing. Yeah. And in Amsterdam and Spain, it's depressing too, because you have two conservative governments that are now kind of pushing that, hey, it's not technically legal, and therefore we're going to start harassing you, and we're going to try and kill this culture. And it's just like, what the fuck age are we in 2021?
They're going to lose a lot of money. They're going to lose a lot of money in Amsterdam. If they do put that into effect, and they're going to see that, we're having the same problem. Yeah. People are still pissing in the street, and people are loud and obnoxious at night. Why? Because you get a lot of, like, soccer fans that, like, go watch the games, and they come from other countries, and they're loud and obnoxious and piss in the street.
Yeah, that's always going to happen, though. That's been happening for fucking centuries.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know,
don't say that they didn't do anything.
More beverages you intake, the more it wants it.
They're fucking Vikings, for fuck's sake. Like, they've forgotten their heritage.
Yeah, they from what I've seen lately in the news on it, is the mayor is saying it's putting a bad image on the city, and it was very disappointing to read the reports that I had read online about what was going on, because it's a place that everybody thinks of as, you know, to go to, and then to see that clamping down it was just sad to see and read.
Yeah, but you know, they'll figure out a workaround. That whole town has so many different gray areas and how the cool, weird stuff works. So they'll figure out some sort of a path.
Yeah. It's a weed, and we are like a weed. We figure out a way to make our way around it. And they keep changing their laws, and we keep finding a way. So,
you know, that was the thing about the vapor lounges in Ontario, and the ones in Toronto. I know, you know, owner of one of them, and he talked about how it cleaned up the area from where he was located at. And, you know, as we know, cannabis has benefits for people that have issues with with drug issues, and for them to turn around and say that, you know, this is attracting drug users, you know, it just seems so wrong. It doesn't.
No,
you know,
it's helping people get on
correct.
We know that.
What we have seen here in Canada with vapor lounges and how it helped out in situations, and you know all the other reports on top of all that, it didn't make sense to me why they would put a big smear on it. So yeah. Well, ladies, it's time for us to take a break. Commercial time.
All right.
Bottom
Let's
down.
go.
All right, when we get back, Julie and I will continue our conversation with our guest, April Black. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Are you interested in Canadian and international cannabis news? If you are, then catch myself, Kim Cooper, and Al Graham for our live reefer report on the Pace Radio Network, found at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Once again, peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Check them out.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Hello and welcome back to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net. Tonight in the program, we're joined by our guest, April Black, the founder of the Highway Travel, cannabis tourism business, plus my joint host, co-owner of Skunk Magazine, Julie Chiariello is here as well. Ladies, before the break, we were talking about Amsterdam and traveling over there and April's way of getting to where she is now. And I'm sure, Julie, you've got us going in a different direction or the same direction or what now?
Well, yeah, and I want to, when we left, we were talking about Amsterdam and kind of the nostalgia there. And I wanted to talk a little bit, too, about the High Times event at that time, because not everybody got to go. Many heads did get to go. And I'm just curious, what was that like for you? And what are some of your, favorite memories or favorite people? That is a long question, but I want to dig in some of your favorite memories from that time period and some favorite people that you met at that time.
All right. Well, some of my favorite memories, of course, is like the first time I went there because, it's the first time I had ever seen anything like that, going to a coffee shop, buying hash. Like, buying hash? Holy shit, I'm buying hash. So that was really awesome. Seeing all the architecture, being able to go to the Van Gogh Museum. I have loved Van Gogh ever since I was in high school, and I took art all through high school, and he was, he's my favorite artist. So seeing his works in person was a really emotional experience for me, which led me to create my little side trip that I would do out there for my travelers called Space Cake A Go-Go, where we would go to a coffee shop, enjoy some space cakes, and then I would lead us all, walking, of course, to the Van Gogh Museum, where we would just, really enjoy the museum. And it was a lot of fun. Get it? Go, go. So, yeah, it was Space Cake A Go-Go, and it was spelled like Vincent's last name, of course. And, and just, going to the High Times Cup itself, like, I had two different experiences because I first went as just working at my friend's booth because they were chosen to be the official stash jar. My friends from 420 Science, and we all lived in Phoenix, and they said to me, "Hey, April, you want to come to Amsterdam with us? Because our other friend who was coming and got pregnant, now she can't come." And I said, "Fuck yeah, I want to come." So, working that, I had never been to like a weed expo. So for me, I was like, holy shit, this is pretty much the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I saw the biggest bud I'd ever seen in my life at the greenhouse booth. And they asked this dude, "Hey, can you take a picture of me sniffing this bud?" And that was Franco. So the first picture I ever have of me sniffing a giant-ass bud was taken by Franco, and he's not here anymore, so that's even more special, So, like, getting to meet him, I thought was really awesome because I thought that was pretty intrepid stuff that they were doing, like, just, like, scouring the earth for cannabis strains. That was amazing.
I love him, too.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me how many people he touched in a very kind of intimate way, because I think that we all have. I remember he took me for espresso, and he talked with me, very gently, and was such a gentleman. And we talked about Spain because my family's from there, and Cuba, and it was just so cool. And I hear so many people that have this kind of intimate kind of memory with him. So he was quite a name, Earth Angel.
I met him at the Treating Yourself Expo when they would come into Toronto and do the expo.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I met Marco Renda, who used to run that at the Cannabis Cup. Lots of years ago.
I was a writer for the magazine as well as helped him out at the expo.
Cool.
Yeah.
I probably have those in my magazine stash in my garage, as a matter of fact.
Probably, yeah. If you've got a Treating Yourself magazine, I'm in there.
That's how I met John. I went to the Treating Yourself Expo.
Yes.
And I met John on the side of the road at 1 a.m. because he had been kicked out of Treating Yourself because him and Marco Renda would go at it. And he got kicked out.
Everyone's connected. Everyone is in this cannabis.
Julie,
it's a small world.
Connected.
Julie
it really is.
Yeah, Julie and I met at the TY Expo in Toronto. I've still got my Magic Flight vaporizer.
Yeah. That was before I was with them.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah, they were going back 11 years. Yeah.
I got to meet so many cannabis pioneers. I met Ed Rosenthal at Champs, and he was walking around in his wizard outfit, and I was like, whoa, look at this guy. What's he? Who is this guy? And that's when I learned about him. But like just going to the Cannabis Cups, I met, I don't know if you're familiar with Stephen Gaskin and his wife, Ina May Gaskin.
Oh my God, yes. That's why I became an herbalist. Part of the reason was the Gaskins.
Because I mean, he was an amazing person, and now he's to the other realm. And then, of course, Ina May was the mother of like modern midwifery.
Midwifery, yeah. If anybody doesn't know, look up Ina May and Stephen Gaskin, and they ran the farm, which was part of the original Back to Earth movement in America. Yeah, and this was. There were so many pockets, but they did it in Tennessee, and they really were kind of the epitome of this, what I like to call the Renaissance, that was hopefully coming, of people living off the land and working with plant medicines and, good food, in season, fresh, from the farm, and just all the different holistic ways of living that they upheld.
That's
why I had my son naturally.
Yeah,
I had my son with no drugs and with a midwife.
That's very cool. Yeah, they just had really like the really nice communal living, but not like in a cult kind of way. Not in a weird kind of way, but in a real beautiful working with each other and working with nature and, for the greater good.
Right. And sharing resources and working as a village, functioning really good. People
Community
filling
garden.
in. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. If anybody also is going into pregnancy or has somebody close to them that is, their book, Spiritual Midwifery, I think is a wonderful tome. So that's amazing that you got to meet them. How awesome. Yeah. I totally admire and love them so much. Who else is somebody that you love to meet, that you got to meet? I know you said you got to hang out with Tommy. Rick Steves.
Yeah.
I love Rick Steves.
I met Rick Steves, who he's my mentor from afar. I love him. Especially,
he's going to be put on the
cruise into travel.
We definitely want to put him on the cover soon. We really admire him as well. He's just amazing. Yeah,
the travel man, and he's pro cannabis. Seems that way, from what I recall.
Oh yeah,
he's so courageous.
Yeah,
he came out with it so long ago. Now he's been public with his youth, and I just really admire that about him. And he hasn't missed a beat.
Yeah, and he's on the board of NORML, like on the national board.
Oh,
yeah, he just happened. Yep,
that's getting
right.
involved.
Yeah, he's involved for sure. And when he announced it on Facebook, I was like, yeah, Rick, that's awesome. And I was reading all these comments, and there was a lot in support, but a lot of the fuddy-duddies, like, I can't believe that you support the devil's lettuce, Rick Steves. You're really letting us down. They just don't get it. You can't win everybody.
No, you're not.
No. What was it? What is he like? Because I've heard he's very down to earth and just a lovely fellow, and he's an Epicurean like me, like you as well. Just savoring all of the simple pleasures of life and savoring the beauty, the poetry of life.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves life, and he was a Cannabis Cup judge in Seattle, which is where he lives. And so when I used to be the house mom for all those cups in Seattle, and I would, be part of giving out the kits and, just preparing meals at the house so the judges had a cool spot to hang out. And he was sorting through his kit, and he was, like, super drooling. Like he was almost like he was, like, walking through, like, some awesome food market in Spain or something. He was into it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Vivian McPeak is our managing editor now. And he's friends with
probably
Rick.
Friends.
Yeah, they're buddies. And Rick has been a big supporter and speaker at Seattle Hemp Fest. So, yeah, we're excited. We're going to honor Rick definitely in an upcoming issue, and I'll tell more about it as we get closer to it. But, yeah, he's deeply inspired me as well. I mean, let's talk about that. So, I mean, that's another area, my dear kindred sister, of just being on the open road and traveling, you know, as a ganja traveler. You know that I'm working on this project, the Ganja Traveler, which, you know, I'm not announcing yet. But tell everybody, you know, what were the original origins of higher wage travel, and, you know, what first got you inspired, you know, being on the open road, and booking travel, since that is your experience. How did you first, you know, start to think about the higher way and what you wanted to do with that?
So after Bobby left High Times, at the end of 2015, I was like, well, shit, we can move to the West. Get me back to the West, please, because I missed Arizona really bad. And I didn't necessarily want to move to Arizona. I actually wanted to move to Oregon, but he got an opportunity out here in California, so to the West we came. And at that time, there was this event, and this event still happens, called the Hawaii Cannabis Expo. And some people who were on that team reached out to me to put together some travel packages because they had gone to Amsterdam through me, and I introduced them to so many people, so he just kind of wanted to return the favor. And that's how Higher Way Travel was born. The book trips for the Hawaii Cannabis Expo. And then I was like, well, I could put Amsterdam trips together. I'm a full-on travel agent now. So I looked into the legalities of it and stuff. And, you know, and when you sell travel in California, it's pretty tricky because they got a lot of consumer protection laws, and you have to have a California seller travel number, and you have to, you know, have that number on all of your stuff. So at the bottom of my website, you'll see that number there, and on all of the information that I give out to all of my clients, and even in emails, that number's on there. I didn't know that. That's why I did the research. And then I was a full-on travel agent, and then I said, okay, I'm just going to put together trips and packages where I know weed's legal, where I know people, and where people want to go. And so I was super confused at first, you guys, really. I didn't know what I was doing because I had all these different, like, booking things to figure out how to do, because I can book people to Disneyland or a Viking River cruise or a regular cruise or some packages to Hawaii, Belize, Costa Rica, the whole world, right? So it was like kind of like confusing to narrow it down and stuff. And then people just started reaching out to me, and through a grower friend of mine, he suggested the spot that I used to work with in Jamaica. And so I went down there for a trial run, and we were a good fit. And so that's when I had that first higher health retreat out there.
Nice.
And so I was like, oh, yeah, this higher health retreat.
Tell us
like
about
yoga.
that. Yeah,
So,
what did it include?
So it included everything that I pretty much have ever done in my entire career with travel and hospitality and, like, activities and fitness. So there was yoga classes, and along with yoga classes, there was healthy food choices. I did like Eat Your Colors class, so you could, like, eat the rainbow, and I taught people about all the different vitamins and antioxidants and things that are in the foods to give them the different colors and why we need them and why it's important. And there was swimming and kayaking and stuff. And then that's how I got the idea for having an event there in Jamaica, and that's how Baked on the Beach was born. And then we did Baked on the Beach for 2 years, and it was really successful. And then COVID hit, and and then COVID hit, so everyone knows what happened with that. We all stayed home and all looked inside and all got really good at gardening and really good at making sourdough bread. And now that we're back to travel, I'm moving Baked on the Beach to Hawaii because it's easier to get to. For me personally, from California, it's easier for me to get to Hawaii. have a great network in Hawaii. The beaches are beautiful. It's less travel and no passports or customs. So,
oh, nice.
At least if you're coming from the States.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. You know, somebody like myself that's coming out of Canada, it'd be a whole different story. But
a whole different story, but it would still go pretty quick, I think. They probably have it on, pretty quick processing there, getting you in. So Hawaii is really, really super touristy right now. A lot of things are booked up, and they have a mask mandate, and they want you to wear your masks inside and outside. And a lot of the locals are getting really ticked off because the tourists aren't being very respectful of what's going on, and of their wishes. So that's happening.
Yeah. So now that have you stopped everything in Jamaica and just going to go to Hawaii, or are you going to cover both countries?
Well, I'm going to do both countries, but I'm working on more of a foodie experience in Jamaica at a little at a resort that's up in the mountains a little bit, not way up in the mountains, but about 20 minutes from the beach up in the mountains. But the weather's much cooler, and they have gorgeous gardens there, and they do farm-to-table meals. And they do this thing called the Chef's Challenge. And so I'm going to bring celebrity chefs. And what they have to do is they have to prepare a Caribbean-style meal with items and ingredients and stuff that are found right there on the property or within like a little radius. If they don't have, they're serving chicken and they don't have chickens right there on the property, then maybe they'll go next door. But you get the point. So they're going to have the Chef's Challenge, and they also have like live African drumming with this awesome troupe out there, and they just jam into the night, and they just have a lot of fruits and a really mature orchard, so you can get like really delicious like fresh fruit beverages. And they have a Rasta hike that you could go on and just really learn about Rasta culture, learn about what it is, why it's important, and learn about ITEL eating and pick some foods out of the ITEL garden, and then he'll prepare it for you in traditional Rasta way.
Now, for people, for the places there, not everybody knows about, where to go in Jamaica and stuff like that. But there are some big name places. So would you be located near any of them, such as the tourism areas, Negril and Chiariello?
It's right outside of Negril. Yeah, it's out at Mount Canaan. That's how you say it, Canaan. I've heard it said both ways, and I'm probably saying it wrong, embarrassingly. But yeah, it's just right outside of Negril. And if you do go to Negril, you guys have to fly into the Montego Bay Airport, and then you could, whichever hotel you're staying at, they will provide, or you can hire, or I can help you with a private ride to Negril, which is like an hour and a half.
Yeah, because I know, I think don't those places offer like excursions or something like that?
Yeah, like they have them built into the packages where, you can take them or not, because some people just want to chill and stuff.
There's some good spots out there, There's different styles of things, like
pretty much everywhere. You can mostly smoke pretty much everywhere in Jamaica. Now some hotels are saying no smoking, we don't want that, because some guests are like, we don't want that now, because like going to Jamaica and the legal herb and the dispensaries and what they're doing, it's getting really, really popular, and it's really, really great because it really puts a nice cash infusion into their economy.
So would that come down to the resort then, as far as whether they allowed smoking or whether they had smoking areas instead where it's fine?
Yeah. It depends on the resort. I work with resorts that either already have a grow on property or that are like a full-on cannabis resort. And then if they don't have a grow on property, then I have a delivery service that'll come to you if you don't want to go to the dispensary. But you should go to the dispensary in Jamaica anyway, because you could go in, you have to get a recommendation, which is about $10, and you can get it right there from the nurse at the dispensary. Yeah. And then just see what the Jamaican, top shelf is and stuff.
Right.
And then you can still do the ganja tours and stuff, and go check out the grows and, get the weed from the people at the grow.
A friend of mine that I know from Toronto who ran a dispensary, dispensary in Toronto, he's now in Jamaica and involved with the company there called Itopia. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Yeah, he's a past guest here on the Pace Radio Show as well. So.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and they're doing a really good job. And like where I work with Zimbale, which is the culinary resort I was talking about, it's called Zimbale. They have a grow right there on site, and they also have a proper drying room because of that. It's very important when you're in such a humid area.
That's what they need over there, and that's what I think is going to keep on happening, is better curing, which is going to really change the whole industry over there in Jamaica. I mean, Skunk used to have a resort there with one of the previous owners, and it's no longer with us in the grill. And I was going to ask you, there's an orange blossom or orange flower, something in the grill outside on the outskirts, that famous growing region where a lot of...
Oh, Orange Hill.
Orange Hill. Yeah, so I've been out there, and I have friends who run the Half Moon Beach, not Bay, Half Moon Beach. It's a preserve with some gorgeous kind of rustic cabins, and it's lovely if you want to have more of, not
don't
some kind
they
of
also have
shishi resort.
Yeah, and isn't there like bioluminescence like going off all the time, like a bioluminescent cave nearby Half Moon?
I think so. Yeah, it's really cool. They also have like a little island that you can like go out to and grill lobster and.
That's called Booby Cay Island.
Cool.
Booby Cay.
Yeah.
Funny,
and I know you have great connections out there too. So, yeah, you can definitely hit April up, at Higher Way Travel and see what she has going on. Looks like we're close to the top of the hour too, because I have some more questions I want to ask you, but I don't want to dig in too deep. If we have to go on break.
We'll tell you what, we'll just go for that commercial break now, and then we come back with a whole new round of questions and stuff like that, and instead of getting started and having to cut it off really quick. So, all right, let's see. Time for that break. Julie and I will continue our conversation with our guest, April Black. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada.ca. Once again, People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada.ca. Check them out.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
The People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network provides its listeners with news, information, and a place to be heard. This is done with a twice-weekly broadcast of the Reefer Reporters and by providing cannabis advocates a place to be heard through Cannabis and Coffee to Marijuana and the award-winning Pace Radio Show. Catch it all here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
What is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network? It's a network of people advocating cannabis education.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing, harvesting, processing, and consuming quality cannabis and cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888.
The only way to go.
We are People Advocating Cannabis Education here at paceradio.net. Hey, welcome back and thanks for tuning in to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net. Tonight on the program is joined by our guest, April Black, the founder of Higher Way Travel, and my joint host co-owner, Skunk Magazine, Julie Chiariello. Well, ladies, at the end of the first segment, we were talking about Amsterdam. At the end of the second segment, we're talking Jamaica. Boy, we're traveling, aren't we? Some cannabis locations during tonight's show. Where are we going now, Julie?
Well, I want to go into another area that April and I have definitely a kindred connection, and it's with yoga and cannabis and also consciousness. And April, along with Bobby, have done some yoga classes online and invited the community to practice with them. And I know myself, I was in the yoga industry before getting into the cannabis industry. And I was a big believer, as an herbalist, I used cannabis actually to open up the body and open up the mind and assist me in doing that work. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, April, is where did your connection with yoga and cannabis and consciousness come in, and holistic health and wellness?
Sure. Well, my parents were into holistic health. So that was something that I had always known about. And they had this book laying around called Yoga for Health by this guy named Richard Hittleman. And I got grounded one summer and I devoured that book. I also have scoliosis in my spine. So I was, smoking weed all the while and doing yoga and just trying to ease the aches and aches and my pains in my spine. And also I have herniated discs later on down the road. So that's, what really got me on the mat. And then I got certified to teach in 2004 so I could help, other people. And I never really taught in the traditional studio. I started doing privates and working in resorts. with my yoga career, and it just kind of carried on into cannabis yoga combination classes, thanks to, you know, the popularity created by Dee DeSalt, who a fellow Canadian, Al, and she wrote the book Ganja Yoga, and that whole phenomenon really, really took off. But I think a lot of us yogis, or even just people who use cannabis for pain and yoga for pain, have really found a nice little intersection of relief, which also helps you tap into your body and kind of tap into like your place in the world and kind of tap into your own consciousness. It's all kind of yoked together.
I love it too. And you're just very practical in your way that you share it. And I think that that's so important, you know, and I think that that is an important part also about this Renaissance thing, is that we all can be, you know, in alignment with our inner source, in alignment with the earth, and, you know, moving in a way where we're getting information, we're getting insight, we're feeling connected, right? It's available to us.
It's available. And I think when you practice yoga, or even just practice breathing, when you first like take that big breath, and you have a yoga teacher like me saying, think about your lungs and the actual capacity that your lungs can hold, you know, when you're just taking a breath, not just taking a big hit and coughing your brains out, but just focusing on the breath, and then noticing just how that breath makes you feel. And then you go through a whole practice and you're breathing with intention. You start incorporating a yoga practice maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, because you like the way it makes you feel. And it begins to change your relationship with like your environment. You make different choices, different food choices. Your relationship with yourself changes. Your relationship with other people around you kind of change and blossom. So I think that's a really nice ripple effect of adopting a yoga practice in concert with your cannabis practice.
Yeah, and just so anybody who, if they've never tried it, any kind of exercise with cannabis, I feel if you haven't tried it, please try it, because there is, I think, an activating element with cannabis that really has been, I think, withheld, you know, under prohibition and the shame and the stigma. And I feel like the next couple of decades, we're going to see huge openings where cannabis and athletes and cannabis and yoga and cannabis and all these wonderful things are going to go together, because it's actually an agent that can, I mean, I've experienced great openings and healings with you know, stretching and by using the breath and stretching and just opening up and releasing tension and in the body. So, and it's activating as well, going to a higher level. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you and I both know.
Even I can say I've experienced a Ganja yoga experience, and you know, I don't do yoga, but it was an opportunity that came along several years ago, and I was asked to participate with some other people. And we went over to a fellow's house, and the lady was doing these classes in Toronto, and she had family in the Belleville area, so she was up with the family, and she said, hey, let's do a yoga session, Ganja yoga session. So me and a few other people, we got together, and down we went, and a local reporter found out about it, and they came and did a feature on us. It was in the newspaper.
So cool.
We used volcano vaporizers to medicate before and during this class. So
nice.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful.
It was a different experience, and it was one I'll always have a record of and always know about.
Keep doing it, Al.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I should. I agree. I should. It would help with these signs of aging that I'm going through. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really good for men, especially too, to keep stretching. All of us.
Yeah. Oh, it is,
myself
for
included.
Sure. Yeah.
To keep stretching and moving the body so that you don't lose mobility. A lot of men lose their hip mobility and have a lot of pain in the hips. And for me, I know I've sacrificed a little bit my yoga practice and in the last few years because of the intensity of the rigorous nature of the magazine and the workload that I've taken on. Speaking of which, you've created these higher health retreats. So I wanted to speak about that, which I just think is so wonderful, that people can, travel to a destination and, have all of these kind of experiences mapped out and all of these intentions that are, good, for a sense of vitality, for a sense of health. So can you tell us a little bit about the higher health retreat that you actually have coming up? And when is it? And can you talk a little bit about, the different things that it includes and why, and what your, sacred intention is with it?
Sure. Well, the sacred intention of this higher health retreat is bringing back connection. After this year we went through, we're all craving connection. We're all craving travel, and some people are wary of travel. So I'm having the higher health retreat up in Trinity County, kind of on the border of Trinity and Humboldt County, the heart of cannabis country, on a legal, full-scale cannabis farm. It's called Soul Spirit Farm, and they have a little retreat area called Soul Spirit Retreats, and they have 6 glamping tents with electricity and queen-size beds with real linens. And what's really cool about this glamping site is that each of the glamping tents, the bell tents, they have their own bathrooms with hot water, fluffy towels, super nice. So we're having the retreat there so people can, be outside in nature. And they have an Ayurvedic chef on staff. So people will, get to learn about what Ayurvedic eating is, learn about your doshas. And if they're not really interested, they really don't have to pay attention. We're going to have yoga classes in the morning. I'm debuting this type of yoga that I've been working on using colored LED lights, and it's like a color therapy yoga. So it's kind of multi-sensory and just adding the color element there for nighttime. And then my partner with this, Melissa Coffey, she is a meditation teacher. So she's going to be offering meditation every morning and some journaling about that meditation. And she's also going to be hosting some essential oil workshops, and that'll be done at the beginning of the retreat because some of those items will be for bug repellent and things, that you can use to cool off if you got too much sun, and just different things that you can make with essential oils. And then on the second day, we're all going rafting down the Trinity River. We have a guided rafting tour with 6 Rivers Rafting. And that's going to be so cool because it's like super mellow rafting, and it's going to be stopping at several swimming holes and some beaches, and we're going on a waterfall hike. What's that?
Do you still have room? How many people can attend this retreat?
Oh, I can have 12 people. 2 people can fit in the tent. So, 12 people.
Okay.
So it's a nice small group. Yeah, and the big rafts, they hold 6 people each. So, we'll have a couple rafts out there. But it's going to be awesome because all the food is included. Also with the rafting, they have lunch included. And there's a photo company that will take pictures of people as they're going down the river. So if you wanted to get pictures of yourself rafting, they actually have it set up to do that, which is pretty cool. I didn't think about that. And then once we get back to Soul Spirit, we're probably going to want to smoke, probably take a shower. There's going to be, pretty much as much herb as you want to smoke there. Soul Spirit, they've got 7th place in the Emerald Cup for their personal grow, which that was out of a couple hundred. So that's pretty badass to get 7th place. And then they just took a couple other awards this weekend, and it was for their pre-rolls, for their like blueberry muffin pre-roll. So they have Fire Genetics. And there's like 3,500 plants on the farm right now. And by the time the retreat is, which is July 30th through August 1st, and so by the time we're in July, those plants are going to be smelling so good, and there's a farm tour included, so people can just, like, you know, commune amongst the plants and just take beautiful pictures with that backdrop. It's going to be awesome. The owners of this spot, it's a really cool couple, and they're like a deadhead couple, and they just have a Jerry bus on site, but it's Walter and Judy, and Judy also does body work. She's a physical therapist, so she'll be available to offer her services if people wanted to, you know, have something looked at, if there's something that they've been wanting to get worked on, you know, holding on to something in their hips or whatever. And then the couple crafts that we're doing is we're going to use some of the old Whoopi and Maya containers, you know, because Melissa and her husband were part owner of Whoopi and Maya, and we have got so many old containers because we can't just throw them away, and we don't know if they're going to really get recycled. So she's drilled a bunch of holes in those, and she's been cultivating some succulents, and we have crystals, so we're going to make some upcycled crystal gardens with those succulents and crystals. Yeah, and then we're going to do like a DIY, make your own bath salts with all these flowers that I've been harvesting out of my own personal garden with my rose petals and my lavender and my chamomile. So, and my little bachelor button petals for some color specks if you want blue in there. And then we're going to make some sun catchers, like with those like little prisms, you know, just those little crystal prisms that reflect the sunlight everywhere and just have rainbows bouncing all over the room. So I've been gathering driftwood so that way we can make really pretty driftwood sun catchers. So that's what the Higher Health Retreat's all about, just hanging out on a wheat farm and going down the river and doing some yoga and eating delicious food and connecting with each other and connecting with the earth and disconnecting from things maybe and just, you know, enjoying yourself in the summertime.
Just 12 people, eh? Wow. It sounds like a great time.
Yeah, keeping it nice and small and intimate.
Which helps.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what, just so people know, where can they find you? Where can they find that retreat? How can they get more information? And
Sure.
What are the exact dates for that?
All right, so the dates are July 30th through August 1st, and it's going to be at Soul Spirit Retreats up in Willow Creek, California. So that's way north, kind of by Eureka, and then inland about 60 miles. That's where that's located. And you can find me on my website at higherwaytravel.com, or you can find me on Instagram at Higherway Travel. You can find me on Facebook at Higherway Travel also. And then I even posted the event on Event High. So if you wanted to check it out on Event High, it's listed there too.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And how about on IG?
Oh, on Instagram, that's at Higherway Travel.
Okay, great.
Good stuff.
And so, just speaking of which, can you take us a little bit more and also into the rest of the year? So you have that event, but then what else is brewing for the rest of the year so people can maybe bookmark something?
Well, I live here on the Central Coast, as you know, Central Coast, California, in Paso Robles. Although people say Paso Robles here. I don't understand
I know,
why.
but it's Paso Robles.
Exactly. So I'm going to create, because Grover Beach in the south of our county, in San Luis Obispo County, is getting opened up to cannabis tourism, and they're going to have a vote to see if they will allow lounges. So I reached out to the city manager to tell him what's going on. Hi, I'm April, and I want to work with you. But I'm going to start just my own little tours around here at the Central Coast and just take people on a dispensary tour. I'm going to do like cannabis yoga, private cannabis yoga classes, or even for groups and bachelorette parties, ladies' night in, whatever. And I'm just going to be working on my offerings right here on the Central Coast because it is a tourism destination, and I live right in it.
It truly is. And that, for people who don't know, that's where I'm from. I'm from the Central Coast. I was born and raised Californian, and from Santa Maria and San Luis Obispo. That's the area, that whole beautiful Central Coast area, Morro Bay, San Luis, Paso Robles. So it's really cool that you're out there, April, and I'm excited to come visit you and hope to do, more hikes. It's such a gorgeous region, and I want to see cannabis take hold there more and more. The climate is great for growing. Yeah. I want to come on your tour. I want to come on your retreat.
There's people also out there that love wine. They might know the Paso Robles name because it is a wine region.
Totally. It really is. And I'm so happy for that. I'm happy that wine and cannabis are taking over and that it's going to protect the beauty of the land instead of, track houses and strip malls.
Oil.
Right. So I'm very happy for that kind of sea change that's happened over the last, with wine, it happened starting 20 years ago, and it's already taken hold so deeply. And then with cannabis, I hope the same thing, that over the next 20 years, it just really opens up and people adopt it. So I'm really happy for the work that you're doing there. So tell us a little bit more about, like I said, the events that are coming up for you in the rest of the year. Is Hawaii on the calendar for this year?
Hawaii is on the calendar. I'm working with Michelle Tippins and her group called Stoke for the Cure. It's a veterans event, and it's a Hawaiian adventure, although I have to say that, and I did include this on all my flyers and stuff, but the hotel rates are subject to change, and the rate that I had before, it has changed. So, if you guys want to go to Hawaii, you got to act fast because it is just changing rapidly, especially for the rental cars, like I was saying. But yeah, Hawaii is on, and that's August 5th through 9th out there on the Big Island, and it's like a choose-your-own-adventure style adventure. So, whoever decides to go, they're not all people are having the same trip because you can choose different adventures, which is really nice. So there's like free things that are included, like hikes and beautiful scenic things and the must-see kind of things. And then there's some activities that are included, like a dinner cruise and a speaker event for Stoke for the Cure, and the dinner is included with that, which is separate from the dinner cruise. That's a different night. And then there's the more elaborate type of adventures you can choose, like a helicopter ride or, going in the submarine kind of thing. So there's different tiers and different levels, and it's a choose-your-own adventure. And I'm going to keep up with that theme for Hawaii, as a matter of fact, and just have different things for different islands. And I'm just still building it out. And so that is that.
What island is it on again?
So this is on Big Island, the island of Hawaii.
Okay,
and then I'll be bringing back Baked on the Beach. I don't think I'm doing that this year. It will be next spring, and I will be doing that on Oahu. So that's
just Baked on the Beach.
Yeah, Baked on the Beach.
Sounds good to me. I need some vitamin C, SEA. Immediately.
Yeah, but a lot of focus right now on road trips.
What?
Road trips. A lot of focus on road trips right now.
Hey, listen, you can always invite me for a research trip. You don't always have to take Bobby. I am also able.
You should come.
I'm a major road warrior. Great road warrior, a seasoned road warrior.
Me too. No, we should go to Seasons.
Yes, I know
Farm.
you are.
No, we should, but I love doing road tripping though. I love driving and love being behind the road, really road warrior stuff.
Yes.
I can clock some miles. I can clock some miles for sure. Like we should go to Five Sisters Farm off the 101 and meet up with Season, who runs that farm, and we could camp there. And
let's do it. Let's set that up. I got my motorhome. Yeah. I'm in my Millennium Falcon 2.0.
Yeah, you can park right there. She has a hip camp spot right there for such vehicles. Hip camps. That's a new thing.
I just was reading about that. Can you tell people more about? I mean, we're not trying to advertise for hip camp, but I think it's pretty cool.
It's a really cool thing, and if you have property out there and you want to make money, you can also have people come camp on your property, which is hip camp, and it's just a lot of alternative ways that you can travel and kind of be a road dog and not pay a lot of money and stay in unique, cool spots like a cannabis farm that Season has, Five Sisters Farm, which is a beautiful farm, and she's a regenerative farmer, and she's Dragonfly Earth Medicine certified.
Yes, shout out to Dragonfly Earth Medicine. Yeah, hip camp is cool. It's basically vineyards, farms that the owners rent out that you can park your RV on the land, and there's so many different sites opening up right now. I'm definitely thinking of investing in it because it seems like there's some really cool spots to stay. So
you've got
so many cool spots.
Awesome.
You got the vehicle to do that.
Yes, I do. I got that vehicle now. So, well, this was such a pleasure. April, can you say again, just real quick, where people can find you, and just share any last-minute shout-outs that you want to do. Shout out to Bobby Black, your sweetheart as well. We hope to have him on the show soon. That'd be fun. And I'd love to have you on the show again, and I'm excited to work with you more in the years to come, sister.
Yeah, me too. I am honored to be on the show, and man, this hour and a half went by so quick. And you guys can find me. Yeah, you guys out there in the world of podcast listenership can find me at Higher Way Travel out there on Instagram. You can visit me on my website at higherwaytravel.com. You can find me on the Book of Faces at Higher Way Travel or April Black, which either way, you can find my personal one or that one. It's all good. And shout out to all the regenerative farmers out there doing the good work. I hope that you all have a terrific, wonderful, abundant season.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to all the stewards and the earth protectors. Thank you for bringing that up, April. That is so important. Because we're wanting to usher in a sustainable renaissance. So thank you to all of those that are holding the line and doing that work. We appreciate you. And thank you for tuning in tonight. And thank you, April, for spending so much time with us. And I'm really excited to share more about what you have coming up at Skunk. Let's get some stuff up on the website as well about the event. It was such a pleasure to hear more about your story and all the wonderful things that you've done. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Oh, well, thank you for giving me the time and for having me. It was truly awesome, and I loved how we just flowed from all the different topics and how there's so many intersections and people knowing each other, and, I just love it. All these links in the chain. It's awesome.
Right.
Yes, it is. I'm dreaming now of Amsterdam and Jamaica and Hawaii. My head is filled with all these visions.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Spain.
Oh, me too. I've been having several dreams. We got to get over there, girl, and go on a journey want to go with you. I have a really special trip up to Salvador Dali's house, and this restaurant on the by a lighthouse that overlooks the Mediterranean. That's like 15 minutes from his house on this dirt road, and they serve this white fish with white wine and crusty bread, and it's such a magical spot, and I just know you would love it, and I hope we get to adventure there one day. I really do.
We will. We will all be in Spain before we know it. We just gotta wait for it to open up.
I am very happy to put that out there. Happy full moon eclipse as well. It's a power moment.
Yeah, I was up at 3 o'clock. I was watching it, and I almost tripped over my cat just now. But yeah, I was watching the full moon. It was beautiful, and I watched the eclipse, and yeah, I felt it.
Nice.
Oh wow, yes. I'm feeling it too. We're all feeling it. So yeah, everybody get connected. Get connected with the seasons, get connected with the moon and the earth, and we'll all carry on, all of us warriors.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Let's see. Have you got a shout out, Julie?
Just go and check out what we've got going on at skunkmagazine.com. We're going to be doing a lot of new stuff. We're going to be launching some merch and apparel, which I'm very excited about. It's been many years coming.
Yes, and when it gets here, you'll go, oh, look at it! Isn't it nice? A lot of hard work went into that. Just
8 years of hard work.
Yeah, I know what you mean. As far as next week, actually next month, let's just touch on that. Next month, you're going to be doing some filling in here on the Pace Radio Show. Kim is on the move, and you're going to take a couple extra days in June, and we're going to hear a little bit more from Julie throughout the month of June, right?
Yes, we're going to be. June is my birthday month. I'm going to be turning 45. Yeah, and now I'm going to be doing almost a weekly show. So we got to have Bobby on April. Tell Bobby that I got to slate him for a day in June.
You've got, yeah, that's right.
I got to fill up my slot.
Yeah, you got 4 of the next 5 weeks. That's right.
I'm crazy to say yes, but I must because Kim Cooper is so lovely and she has covered me a few times. So I got to have her back. So I'm going to have to pull time out of my ass. I don't know how. I'm going to make more time, but I'm going to do it.
You'll do the best. I know. All right. Just to remind everybody that catch the Reefer Reporters tomorrow morning. You can catch Cindy and Green Irene. Green Irene is filling in for the moving Kim Cooper. See how this all works. At one point, just so you know, Julie, the backups are going to be hosting the show, because the regulars won't be available due to moving and other reasons. So it's always good to have backups. So it's good to have. All right, let's see. The Reefer Reporters, they get started tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and you can catch them on our network, on our Facebook network page, as well as on YouTube, because they are a video version, and the podcast will be posted later on Spreaker. Just other than that, you can find the network on Twitter. We're on Instagram. And we're on Facebook as well. Thank you to our sponsors, Legacy 420, BMAHydroponics.com, Legacy Camelford Lifestyle Shop in Camelford, and the Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions. They're found at drbuckcts.com. As always, I like to make sure our guests get thank you'd because they spend so much time with us and share their stories and entertain our listeners and educate them as well. So thank you so much, April Black, the founder of Higher Way Travel, for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And as always, Julie, thank you for everything you do and your busy schedule ahead of you as well. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in.
Al.
You're welcome. And thanks to our listeners for tuning in the program. And other than that, we will see you next week. And good night.
Thank you, dear listeners. Good night. Thank you, April. Thank you, Al.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Do you want to hear what patients and cannabis advocates have to say? If so, then catch the Pace Radio Show Wednesday nights here on paceradio.net.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.